All right. I've been asked today to give an update on the Asian Longhorned Beetle Program and just some of the work that we do downstate. This is the Asian Longhorned Beetle New York program with a little of New Jersey thrown in. It's 142 square miles under quarantine. We just expanded our Staten Island quarantine another 2 miles because of an infestation that was found in December 31st, 2008. I'm going to be talking a little bit about our survey. So as we look at this map, you're going to see Islip, which is out to the east, and you see Manhattan, which is out to the west. So when I talk about the western border and the eastern border, this is really what I'm talking about in New York proper. And this, like I said, it's kind of scattered. You know, we have a big distance between Long Island and New York City, but and Staten Island, which is handled by New Jersey. But this is the area that we are responsible for. Okay. And the Asian Longhorned Beetle Program in New York has been around since 1996, so we pretty much have gotten into a routine and a rhythm of the work that we do. You know, it's all very important. One can't really exist without the other in order to eradicate. And, you know, we have survey, treatment, controlling movement through removal and through regulation. Outreach is a big part, and research is always important. You know, we start with ground survey. Most of the areas that we are surveying are in what's called the second cycle, which means that we have to survey the entire area one time, and that would be the first cycle, and now we're coming through it a second time.
Hey, Joan, excuse me, Joan, this is Leslie. I don't know if other folks are having a hard time hearing you or not, but it's pretty quiet on this. So if you could just talk really directly into your phone and loudly, that would be helpful for my old and feeble ears.
Oh, I have the phone actually up to my mouth.
Okay.
The connection is bad. She sounds very far away to me.
Okay. Yeah, if you could just talk really loud into that phone.
Okay.
Okay.
And also, somebody is breathing right into the phone, which I think is causing interference on my end, too.
Okay, so if everybody gets their phones on mute except for Joan, and Joan talks right into her phone really loud like she's mad at all of us, I think that might work out. Okay, so no breathing into the phone except Joan.
Let me try, I'm going to try speaker because maybe it's my headset, my handset that's the problem. Is this any better?
That's worse.
Is this any better?
Yes, it is, Joan.
It is, yeah.
Okay, this is on speaker.
Okay, that's better for me. This is Leslie.
Okay. All right. And the first part of what we do is we need to survey level 1, level 2. Level 1 is the most infested area. It's 1.5 miles from the center. And then the level 2 is 1.5 miles past that. The majority of our work is done by ground survey. You know, again, we have to take our binoculars, summer, winter, anytime, and we need to check the trees visually with the binoculars. The second part of our work is through climbing survey. Climbing survey is much more precise. Right now we have a climbing survey going on in Islip. Islip is in the third cycle. We've actually surveyed it twice by ground, and now we have a contract with the Davy Crew company, and they are doing a climbing survey. Hopefully that will be the last time through in Islip where we can declare eradication in that area. Staten Island also is done primarily by climbing survey. The newest infestation that was found at the end of December, they've gone through there and climbed it all. They have found nothing else. The USDA in New Jersey is overseeing that contract. Right now they've gone back to New Jersey except for a few trees that need some bucket truck work. And then they'll come back to Staten Island after they're finished with New Jersey and do another cycle there. This is Islip. This is the area we're working in now. Our own in-house climbers did the level 1 area, which is in the center. The Davy Crew will do all the gold, and that's projected to take about a year. There are 68,000 trees that need to be surveyed. They started in October 1st, and they hopefully will be completed by October 1st of next year. And this is just some information, you know, of what we do and how many properties we inspect at a time. You can see the different areas, like Brooklyn, it's almost 1 for 1 as far as properties to trees. A lot of those properties are no hosts, but we have to knock on every door and check. You know, where Amityville is 7,000 properties, but, you know, 24,000 trees inspected. So the host density in those areas is much higher. Treatment. Treatment is a big part of what we do, and the reason we do it is because we found that it has been very effective. This is our treatment bands, as we call them. In every area that we treat, we need to treat for 3 consecutive years. We are currently kind of in the center where, I don't know if you can see the blue, the red, and the green. That's the Queens treatment area. There's a small area of Brooklyn that's in purple that we're currently working on. We have finished treatment in Manhattan. We have finished treatment for 3 years in the northern part of Brooklyn. We have finished treatment in the western part of Queens. The treatment is based actually on our, on a $20 million budget. And if the funding stays true, we'll be able to walk our way from west to east and treat in treatment bands. This year, the blue is coming out of treatment. They've had the 3 years, and we'll just finish with the red, the little area in the center, that's Queens, and the green. We were to start the fuchsia area, and I'm sorry about all these colors, but that's how we refer to it in the program. That was supposed to start in 2011, but because there was a decision made to put a climbing contract into Manhattan, they're going to delay that treatment band until 2012. And we treat 2 different ways. In New York City, it's trunk injection and basal soil injections. When we do come to Long Island, this method won't be allowed because of the ground. And this is the 2000, this is the area that we treated in Queens, and the bottom half of that is Brooklyn that we treated this year. And this is the area in Staten Island that was treated. In Staten Island, we finished treating in the old infestation that was the Pearls Island. That would be the last year, but we still have 2 more years in the new area that we have infested. This is just some of the numbers, both in Staten Island and in New York. We treated about 69,000 trees. Also, you can see what we found infested this year. With the exception of what was found in Staten Island, in New York, we only had 6 infested trees. 1 was a high-risk, suspicious tree that we took down. So that's wonderful progress. Removals are something that we have to do. Again, we only had 7 trees this year altogether in New York. Removals were kind of quiet this year. And these are the total trees that have been removed to date. In New York, we've had 6,200 infested trees, but we took down 18,000. Most of those were taken down in Staten Island, in the area around Pearls Island. New Jersey and Massachusetts, with New Jersey, they were very aggressive in their removal. As you see, there's only 729 trees that were infested. The rest were all high risk. Massachusetts has a much higher incidence of infested trees. I think there's around 1,300 still standing that have not been removed. The number's a little higher. We're up to about 16,400 total so far. And regulatory. Most important thing is to keep the wood from moving and that infestation from spreading. And I have 6 inspectors that are dedicated to that, plus 1 federal person that helps out. And these are the problems that we are encountered downstate. These fly-by-night companies with firewood, and they get from Brooklyn and they move it someplace else. And in this form, Asian Longhorned Beetle can emerge and spread. Another thing that we regulate, which is very, very time-consuming, is nursery stock. Any nursery stock within the quarantine area is regulated. It has to be tagged. It has to be monitored. Records have to be kept. There are stores such as Home Depots and the Lowe's that have nobody who can actually monitor the sale of stock, so we've actually stopped them from bringing any host material in at all. Again, we have to keep checking them because they promise not to bring it in, and then the next week the floor is full of maples. So this, there are 23 nurseries under compliance with us that agreed to the tagging. The rest have agreed not to have any stock. There's about 40 in the quarantine area that we have to keep track of. This is regulatory blitzes, and these have been happening primarily upstate. They're not all dedicated to Asian Longhorned Beetle, but they do target wood boring insects, emerald ash borer. They work with Customs and Border Protection. They work with the state troopers. They go up to the borders and they stop trucks and they check. And this is really an important thing. So far, nothing has been found. This is how Asian Longhorned Beetle will spread. This is the work so far for this year: 180 clients, about 4,500 inspections to date, 47 quarantine orders, and 11 violations. Outreach, probably is one of the most important things that we can do. Many of the infestations that we have found have been brought to our attention by a homeowner or somebody who's been, as a lot of the prisons know, and I know with Troy, August was Asian Longhorned Beetle Month. There was money put in for outreach upstate to really target the upstate and New England areas. These are two of the billboards that went up upstate. The posters that are in all the DEC campgrounds and campgrounds. But again, the DEC and the Parks Department, they surveyed all the DEC campgrounds upstate, the parks. There were 8,000 trees surveyed. I know that there are 2 towns targeted upstate. Everybody knows this. The Catskill and Adirondack region, nothing was found. There was some training, and that's probably the most important thing, is really to keep Asian Longhorned Beetle in everybody's mind, because it can be spread. Research is ongoing. This is a research project that's going on for imidacloprid. We had scientists from the Beltsville lab come up with these. They collected pollen on trees, control trees that did not have any treatment, and then there were trees that had 1-year treatment and 2-year treatment. They collected the pollen and they were analyzing that for imidacloprid. They will be coming back in, I believe, April. And also the wood collection. This is Dr. Alan Sawyer from the Otis lab. He continues to age the wood, see how old the infestation is. He's developed rates of spread based on the egg sites and exit holes. So we know that a tree that is infested, it's not until about the 7th year that it really spreads out far. This is the Staten Island infestation, the latest one, and it was determined that this infestation was older than the trees that were found on the mainland of Staten Island from prawls. So that was very interesting that this was the older infestation. There's another study that was done 2 years ago. It was from a research student in Penn State. She was working on a pheromone. She hung these traps in Amityville and in Brooklyn. She also went to China with it. This year she has the same traps hung in Massachusetts. We didn't have a lot of success catching anything in our traps, but I understand that she did have success in Massachusetts and in China. Has left Penn State, and she has joined the Otis lab. So we'll be seeing more of her and hearing a little bit more about her studies. And Worcester, that still is, an ongoing problem. It's a concern for us because we need them to be successful for our program not to be affected. They have just expanded their quarantine to 74 square miles. This week they found another 12 infested trees. And as you can see, the interstates that go through that, there's always the concern of the rate of spread there. They continue to do removals. Like I said, there's still 1,300 trees still standing there. They'll be doing a pilot treatment program starting, I believe, today, where they're going to try treating in the fall to see the efficacy of the pesticide in the tree in the fall. And these are the concerns. You know, when you look at Massachusetts, when you look at Canada and New York State, see that New York State has a very high population of maples, more than Massachusetts. So it is a concern for us to control Asian Longhorned Beetle down here, make sure it doesn't spread. And like I said, it has a lot of places where it can be attacked from. Downstate, Canada, and in Massachusetts are all pathways back into New York State. So it's important that we're kind of vigilant. And this is just, you know, major roadways. The thruway, I think that's I-90 that runs through Worcester and up into, you know, up through Toronto. So the spread could be there. You know, it could have been moved. You know, Worcester has been there for at least 15 years.